Spears started 10 of the 13 matches she's accumulated 4 points in her 2-year career with UCF. She's also represented France on the U23, U19, and U17 French national team. She's escorted on the field today by her boyfriend, Lizzy Spears. Let's get it to the pro. And Lizzy Spears, number 19. Lizzy Spears played 64 matches in her 4-year career at UCF, starting off in Philadelphia. He scored 14 goals in 5 assists this year, including 7 goals and 1 assist so far this season. In her freshman season, she was named to the American Athletic Conference All-Rookie. She's made 3 catches for the Belgian national team and was selected to the U17 and U19 national teams combined 8 times. Off the pitch, she's a member of the American Athletic Conference Student Athlete Advisory Committee and Vice President of the Student Athlete Advisory Committee here at UCF. She served as the team captain for Rematch this season. She's escorted to on the field by her dad, Bruno, her mom, Nadia, her sister, Tatiana Martinez, her niece, Asia Martinez, and her uncle, Pierre Spears. Let's give it up for number 18, Sidney Turner. Matt Thompson, number 22. Matt Thompson is on the 2017 campaign. While injuries have been under 2020 tonight, he's an active at FACC and the leader of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. He volunteers with multiple organizations in the community. He's escorted on today by her mom, Charlene Thompson, her dad, Gary Thompson, her sisters, Julie, Jennifer, and Jamie, her nieces, Lily and Addison, and her nephew, Alex. Let's give it up for number 22, Matt Thompson. Jessica Taylor, number 26. Jessica Taylor was scored 52 goals during her 5-year career in UCF. She's accumulated more than 1,350 minutes and earned 11 points in her career. She also serves as the secretary of UCF Student Athletics Advisory Committee. This season she served as the team captain. She's escorted on the field by her mom, Irene Mock, her dad, Sherman Taylor, her sister, Mia Mock, her boyfriend, Walker Dawkins, and our support dog, Ranger. Let's give it up for number 26, Jessica Taylor. She picked up and played in 2 games her sophomore season. Although injuries have recently returned to play, she's staying involved with the UCF program as a student manager this season. She's escorted up to the today by her mom, Meredith Graywall, her stepdad, Skip McDermott, and her brother, Blake Graywall. Let's give it up for Skip Graywall. All right, let's make the noise for all of your UCF seniors. ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the UCF Soccer Complex. Tonight's match between the Soccer Bulls and your UCF Rematch. And now let's get started to the Bulls. Number 2, Cheyenne Dennis. Number 3, Olivia Smith. Number 5, Fanny Cole. Number 6, Lizzy Spears. Number 7, Sidney Turner. Number 10, Olivia Smith. Number 14, Olivia Smith. Number 15, Sabrina Wagner. Number 31, Lizzy Spears. Number 35, Sidney Turner. And the goal for the Bulls, number 1, Sidney Martinez. The head coach for the Bulls is Denise Brown, who is assisted by associate head coach Chris Brown, assistant coach Yvonne Lopez, volunteer assistant coach Chris Morocco, director of operations Alex Delgado. And now let's get the starters for your UCF. Here we go. At midfield, a freshman from Cooper City, Florida. Number 2, Olivia Smith. At forward, a sophomore from Essex, England. Number 3, Olivia Smith. And midfield, a junior from Warwickshire. Number 4, Molly. On the pass, senior from Texas Tech, Mary Jamaica. Number 6, at forward, sophomore from Orlando, Florida. Number 7, Kristen. On the defensive end forward, a freshman from Cologne, Germany. Number 11, Western Florida. Number 19, and the junior from Jacksonville, Florida. Number 20, Madison. And the sophomore from Jacksonville, Florida. Number 21, and forward, the redshirt senior from Tampa, Florida. Number 26, Jessica Taylor. And in goal, the redshirt freshman from Tampa, Florida. She's number 1, head coach of the United States, Robert Saheda. He was assisted by associate coach assistant coach Chris Cummings, director of operations Katie Lang, and volunteer assistant coach John Martinez. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we ask that you please stand for the flag of our national.
Well, before we go door to door, time for a little war on I-4. We hope your Halloween is off to a great start. We welcome you to Orlando, Florida for the regular season finale of American Women's Soccer. UCF and USF with a little bit on the line tonight as these two rivals collide here on the American Digital Network. Take a look at where the table currently stands. Of course, USF's only loss in conference at 7-1 was in the conference opener against Memphis. If they can hang on with a victory against UCF tonight, who knows, they may very well be hosting next week over in Tampa. If UCF can force a draw or the Knights can pull out a win here at home, they will deny the Bulls a chance to contend for that regular season title. Of course, Memphis in the driver's seat controls its own destiny with their matchup tonight as well. Welcome inside the broadcast booth, everyone. Lincoln Rose, Kit McConico, and Kit. We started conference play between Memphis and USF in Tampa. Hard to believe, here we are already, the final matchup of the regular season on this Halloween. so much still on the line as if it wasn't just a rivalry game already.
You're exactly right. The war on I-4, and what a way to wrap up the regular season. So much on the line tonight, so much to play for. Anticipate a fantastic match between these two.
Take a look at your keys to the matchup for the visitors from Tampa. What will it take for the Bulls to stay in contention for that regular season title?
For the Bulls, it's about sharing the wealth. As a team that likes to possess, they average 2 assists per game, 2.2 goals a game, and that means they move the ball. It is very little 1v1. Road Warriors, the Bulls undefeated on the road this season, a perfect 7-0. All 3 of their losses have come at home, where they're 4-3, and lucky number 7. Winners of their last 6, can they make it 7 in a row?
Well, we know UCF is going to host a first-round playoff match in the conference tournament, but how do they finish their season on a winning note against their rival?
It starts with the defense. A stingy, nice defense, second in the conference in goals allowed at just .56 a game and shutout. They picked up shutouts in half of their 16 matches this season. Set pieces big for both of these teams, who both average over 6 corners a game.
A lot of young girls in Tampa tonight probably dressing up in green, wearing a number 14 on their back in their makeshift Evelyn Vienne costume. She has now scored in the past 7 straight matches for the Bulls.
She is as good as it gets, not just in conference, but in the country. Evelyn Vienne, the senior from Quebec, the reigning American Athletic Conference Offensive Player of the Week, scored in both of USF wins last week, has the conference record in goals scored, averages over a goal a game.
You know what she's never done, though? That's score against Caroline Delisle, the second-year freshman out of Tampa, suiting up for the Knights here in Orlando.
You're exactly right. The redshirt freshman from Tampa has conceded just 9 goals in 16 games this year. Second best goals against average in the conference, a paltry .53. But she's going to be tested tonight.
Regular season finale before we shift our focus to the conference tournament next week. Bulls still in the running for regular season crown. Opening kick when we return.
We don't just predict the future, we shape it. Because as a preeminent research university, we don't focus on what should be, we focus on what could be.
When we say charge on, we commit to do extraordinary things, to put in the work, to be smarter and stronger, to let them know we're coming. Charge on! Charge on!
Fans making their way out before they squeeze in some trick-or-treating perhaps later on tonight. Lincoln Rose, Kit McConical with you. War on I-4 about to get underway for the first time today. Let's check in down on the pitch with Eric Lopez. Eric?
Lincoln, the atmosphere here down here is at a fever pitch. UCF, of course, honoring 6 seniors here tonight. They're playing for momentum and seeding. USF, of course, as you guys are talking about chance to win the regular season, but there's also points on the line. The War on I-4 for the 4th season. Both programs play for an all-sports trophy. 6 points on the line to the winner of this match, and it's always big when these two teams play. Something's on the line every year, whether it be conference championships or as well the War on I-4 trophy, Lincoln. It's an NCAA tournament kind of field here at both sides, really ready to go here.
Absolutely. In fact, these two teams have taken turns in recent years hosting this conference tournament. The Bulls are still in the running to do so. Of course, Memphis last year injected themselves by knocking off both of these teams in that conference tournament in Tampa. Memphis at the moment has 1 match left on their schedule. That's tonight in Tulsa. That will not get underway until we are wrapping up this one. So we will not know in all likelihood when we sign off tonight exactly how it's going to play off. What we do know is UCF is going to be a 3 or a 4 seed, so they will host in the first round. Knights trying to get on the board early on.
Neither one of these teams can worry about Memphis. They have their destiny in their own hands, particularly USF. A victory tonight can put themselves in pole position to host the conference championship.
That one will cross the end line. Look, this rivalry is just so great for the American as a whole. These two teams, when they meet, there's so much on the line each and every year. And, of course, when it's on the back end of your schedule like this, you always know it's going to have implications on that championship picture.
We were treated to a great match to start the conference season, Memphis and USF, and now a fantastic one to wrap things up. The war on I-4, these two teams. And for the Bulls, they haven't had a lot of success in this competition, this all-sports series. So far, it has been the Knights. They've won the first 3 years. The Bulls looking to turn the tables.
Quick touch from Evelyn Vienne. We'll rattle off just some of the ridiculous goal-scoring numbers for her. I mentioned 7 straight matches she has scored in the Canadian. That's 10 goals in the last 12 matches, 8 goals in the last 7. What a run, and she's hoping it continues tonight to help get her side out on top early.
64 goals in her career. She's shattered the American record as in points, 150 in her 151. Let's not short her the point there in her career. But she does it all, not just a goal scorer. She's able to drop back in the midfield. She can play the distributor as well, one of the top talents in the country.
Denise Schulte-Brown, of course, has a good one of the best in Evelyn Vienne, not just here in the country, or pardon me, in the conference, but across the country. And a great dynamic between these two coaching staffs. Of course, you've got the Brown family in Tampa. You've got the Sahedaks in Orlando. We'll have more on that. Right now, it's USF trying to strike first. And Delisle tested for the first time. There's Denise Schulte-Brown. Again, just the second ever head coach of this program that started back in 1995. Former member of the Canadian national team. Of course, on the opposite bench, a former member of the red, white, and blue. But you talk about the commonality on the resumes of these two coaching staffs. The Browns were at Virginia Commonwealth before they came to Tampa. They did such a good job, VCU was determined to hire another husband-wife combo. And that's when Tiffany Roberts and Tim Zahadak followed them. And then, of course, followed them down to Florida as well.
Well, 2 great coaching staffs. And take a look at Tiffany Roberts Zahadak, former U.S. national team member, 10 years with the red, white, and blue, and all of her success there, her counterpart with the Canadian national team. And you see she's led these Knights to 4 NCAA tournaments, 3-time Conference Coach of the Year.
See her in that shade of blue. She wore the Carolina blue with the Tar Heels on that 1997 championship squad. Both sides have had some trips into the opponent's box here early on. As another stop from Sidney Martinez. Martinez this year has split time back between the pipes with Kat Harmon. Martinez stingy, .67 goals against average this year. 78% stop percentage for the sophomore. And she is the veteran of the two. Harmon, of course, just a freshman. So Denise Schulte-Brown's going to have some good ones to juggle through over the next few years.
The 6-foot sophomore from Georgia, Sidney Martinez, outstanding this year. She has just done everything asked of her, and that back line has really helped. She's only allowed 5 goals this year, but she's only had to make 18 saves, and that is because of the quality of her defense.
Many of those against Memphis. She was able to keep it tight early on, just like a year ago.
South Florida, a high-powered offense for USF, a team used to outscoring their opponents. They've done so 33-14 this year, including 12-3 in this last 6-game stretch where they're 6-0.
Yeah, Bulls have just allowed 5 first-half goals. The Knights are even stingier, allowing just 4, a total of 9 goals allowed by the Knights this year. As they look to strike early on here, Kristen Scott will take it all the way to the end line, and this is going to be a corner kick opportunity for the Knights.
Huge credit there to the sophomore who leads the team with 8 goals. It was a heavy touch initially. You look at the edge of the 18, and that was the touch right there. I thought Martinez had a chance to come off her line, didn't, stayed in the 6. Scott was able to catch up to it and wins the set piece. Great work from Scott.
You have the short option here for Molly Rouse, with Roger standing nearby. They'll keep it low. Try to create some chaos. The Bulls finally able to clear it out.
Lincoln, these two teams very similar. Great defenses, great goalkeepers. Mentioned Sidney Martinez, her counterpart. Caroline Delisle, the redshirt freshman. 8 total shutouts this year. She's done a fantastic job. You pair that with high-powered offenses. We'll see how this game shakes up. Two teams used to scoring a lot of goals and not conceding many.
This will find its way to the feet of Katie Kitching. Junior sends one up into space. It's with Vienne. And that is a small victory there for UCF, not allowing Evelyn Vienne to pull that boot back and fire one on the frame, at least not yet.
Olivia Smith, the sophomore defender from Essex, England, able to get a boot to it and sends that one out into touch and had to, or Vienne would have been in on goal. It's going to be a busy evening for the Knights back line trying to contend with Vienne.
Right back, Wagner will toss it back in. Peltier-LaRoche Thought she had things sized up. This one's sent back the other way from Rouse.
A great ball in transition to trigger the counter.
Martinez retreats back to her line, waiting for a shot. It might come here from 20. And a trickler, Martinez able to knock it down. Just not quite enough behind it from Zandy Saray, who had some space there.
Saray, the senior, the native Floridian. Space indeed. A good ball to the top of the 18, settled it. And is able to find a way through the bodies. But Martinez, for a 6-foot goalkeeper, able to get down low that quick. A difficult task.
Lucy Roberts on that back line for USF, able to be enough of an impediment back there.
And so far early on, it is an electric pace, box to box. The only question is, can they keep this up for the full 90?
Obviously, some great international talent for both sides. A foot race for this one. Able to send it through. Martinez first on the ball.
That's exactly what they need from Martinez. She's going to have to come off the line quickly to claim that 50-50 ball. If it's anywhere inside the 18, they need her to get to it.
Kristen Scott took a little bump for her effort trying to track that one down, as Martinez got some support from her back line. This one back over to UCF here for the toss as we say farewell to the 8th minute.
Take another look. Good ball down the far flank, sent in, able to squeeze it through, and Martinez there. Definitely a shot taken by Scott. Able to bounce back up.
And that's Roberts, a member of the national team in her home country of England. Roberts, we talked to her head coach, Denise Schulte-Brown, at the start of conference play. Even though she's a freshman, doesn't feel like she needs to defer to anybody. Already a confident player out there on the pitch. Vienne sizes one up. And Delisle has the answer this time as Evelyn fires that one from 20.
For most players, that is an optimistic attempt from long range. For Evelyn Vienne, well within her range, finds herself with it. Why not take a crack at goal? But low and not enough on it to trouble Delisle.
And Tiffany Roberts-Zahadak plucked Delisle out of the backyard of Denise Schulte-Brown out of Tampa.
That's one thing about this matchup, the World on I-4, the proximity. They recruit a lot of the same players. A lot of these players played with and against each other in high school and the club level. Just adds to the intensity.
Delisle has played every single minute this year back in goal for the Knights.
He's done a great job. And you're the goalkeeper. That means you're the general, not just of the back line, but of the team. And to have a redshirt freshman play as well as she had, that is very rare.
Ali Gedorf, the freshman from Germany, wearing the number 11 that another German wore a year ago.
Good look from Vienne there, slowing things, able to find a teammate now, looking for the return ball.
Even without the ball, Vienne dictating things for the Bulls here. They'll send one in. That one took a deflection off of Mernon and winds up into the arms of Delisle.
Lincoln, you just made a great point that even when Vienne does not have the ball, even when she's not the target,
And in final year with UCF, the outgoing senior captained the Jamaican national team to their first ever Women's World Cup qualification via the CONCACAF.
And for so long, the Reggae boys, they've been cream of the crop in CONCACAF. The Reggae girls starting to make their presence felt as well, and Plummer a big reason why.
A big part of that back line for Coach Roberts-Zahadak. Quick touch on Vienne, just couldn't settle it. And they're going to bring this one back with the whistle.
UCF doing a good job keeping one and sometimes two players on Vienne. They're not giving her chances with that ball at her boots. They know what she can do. And right now it looks like if USF is going to find the opener, it's going to be someone else.
Jessica Taylor, another Tampa native on this UCF side. Not an official hydration break. But when they went to check in on her, all of her teammates made her way over. A reminder at how things look on this Halloween night. This is the final night of the regular season for every member of the American. We mentioned Memphis leading the way. If they can get a win or a draw at Tulsa tonight, which will start shortly after we wrap up, we expect here, then they will hold on to hosting rights for this year's conference tournament. Again, this year that means hosting semifinals and finals. They would get a bye. We already know they've locked up a bye in that first round.
Well, for USF, you want to play at home, but I mentioned it in the open. A bit strangely, they are unbeaten on the road this year. They're perfect 7-0 at home. They're just 4-3. All 3 losses have been there.
Sometimes that's because you take a business mentality with you on those road trips. We've seen that in this conference.
We've spoken with coaches how difficult it is to play the Thursday and the Sunday matches. So to be unbeaten in road matches, particularly such a quick turnaround, hats off.
And of course, not just the women, the men also still have yet to settle on who your #1 seed will be and host their conference tournament. Same format, where 3 and 4 seeds will host their first round play-in matchups, the quarterfinals. And then the semifinals and final will go to the site of the #1 seed. As for UCF, you look at Molly Rouse making her 17th start now on the year. Junior out of England. Plummer appearing as though she will handle this one.
Plummer can put this one into the box, see if she can find a teammate to get a head or a boot to it.
Ganya to the top of the area. And nothing will come of it for the Knights. Mentioned both these teams so stingy in the first half. The moment that opening whistle blows, they are focused at the task at hand. Perhaps considering an opportunistic look, trying to get the handball. They will. USF's going to have a free kick from just outside the area.
This is in a good spot. Clearly a handball, but in the build-up, credit the Bulls. They were patient. They wanted to play quickly. They realized they didn't have numbers. They slowed things down a bit, and obviously right off the hand of Lewis. Well, big chance here for the Bulls.
Delisle favors that post to her right, looking on as 3 Bulls are in the area.
You have to imagine this is Hawksdaughter territory right here. See if the Iceland native, and she looks like she's going to address it.
4 goals this year for the senior. Ball sent in, and it's a one-hopper to Delisle. Nothing she couldn't handle.
Well, right at her. The wall did its job. Hawksdaughter had to push it around. It was well set up by Delisle. She was waiting for it the whole time.
Hawksdaughter so reliable usually on those set pieces. There's a reason why she takes most of the penalty kicks when they become available. This is the last match of the year for these two that could potentially just end in a draw after 110 minutes. Of course, once the postseason rolls around, conference tournament, NCAA tournament, get to enjoy those shootout rounds. Unenviable task for the opposing keeper. And a corner kick coming up here for UCF.
Well won by Scott so far. We've seen her be able to make things happen on her own. Another set piece. We talked in the open about how important set pieces would be in this match with these two stingy defenses.
Especially 1 assist this year for Molly. And she looks in. Rouse delivers near post. And another corner kick coming up. Bull looks like she may have gotten poked in the eye. And UCF got that ball right where they wanted to Jessica Taylor. The Bulls able to run enough interference. As you see, Sidney Nacello.
Good ball, great service. Came into the near post. Takes a difficult hop. Nacello able to get just enough of it. And definitely took a shot at the end.
A ball sent in. Same result. A couple of zeros on the scoreboard right now with 28 minutes to go in this first half. USF 7-1 in conference. UCF this year 4-2-2. That was a conference opening loss against Memphis, 1-0 here in Orlando. The loss was just the other night at a much improved Bearcat squad. Cincinnati in recent years has put up a big fight. They've been a frustrating team for other squads to play. They're getting results this year.
They are. They've always taken a lot of pride in being that blue-collar team, the hardest working team on the pitch. You combine that with some talent, some older players that have had experience, and that's the reason that they've been able to find good results this season.
A couple of draws here in Orlando against Temple and UConn as well for the Knights. Have them just outside the championship hunt this year. Delisle.
It appears things may be starting to settle down just a bit from the frantic pace we saw early on.
And a give over here to Godorf. Not much chance for that pass. Of course, we were watching American soccer last year on Halloween, but it was the quarterfinals in Tampa. Memphis and ECU would prevail on those nights. Ball sent in. Sidney Martinez showing off her 6-foot frame, the sophomore.
That is a luxury when you have a goalkeeper the height of Martinez. Hard to find anything over looking for the back post. The Knights may be better served to play things to the boots instead of trying to go through the air, with Martinez patrolling the airspace in the 18.
Of course, it is senior night for Plummer as well as her teammates, even though they know they'll have one more match here at home. And essentially the conference quarterfinal.
The 6 seniors on this team. Plummer, her 5 teammates, what they've been able to do in their time here with the Knights, influential. Got to be a bit bittersweet getting to the end of their career here at home, but they would like nothing more than to pick up an extra victory. They wore an I-4, an extra 3 points. See if they can continue to climb the table. And
Soray able to win this one back. Plummer up the middle. It's going to wind up with Martinez 18 yards off her line.
Buildup was there. The first 2 balls perfect, right through the middle, 1 touch each one, a settle and a pass, played through, but the final ball just off target. Give Martinez credit. She was a bit reticent early. She was staying inside the 6, but she's quickly figured out that she's going to have to be very fast off her line tonight, and so far she's been able to do so, taking control of anything in her box.
Well, opportunities came early for both sides in this opening half, not quite midway through already. But a pair of zeros still on the scoreboard here in Orlando. And really the burden, both teams want to win this rivalry matchup, but the big picture, the burden is on USF to get a result in the form of a victory.
And UCF knows that. They can play their game. Less pressure on the shoulders of the home side. They don't have to chase, and when you're on the road having to chase points, difficult position to be in.
Plummer still on it. Kanya Plummer, left-booted delivery. And the green shirts ultimately come to support Martinez back in that area.
Even though the Knights couldn't find anything there in that trip inside the box. What a run from Plummer all the way up from her left center back position into the box through 4 Bull defenders.
Martinez waiting for the next shot to come her way. It's going to be a moment.
I like what I'm seeing from UCF, recycling the ball, not forcing things, playing patiently. Doing a great job keeping possession.
UCF officially out shooting USF early on, 5-3. Both teams with 3 shots on frame. 3 corner kicks accumulating for UCF here in this first half. Ooh. All right, through the wickets. As drawing out some appreciation from the fans, Madison Mernon. Nothing will come of it.
The best this UCF offenses look thus far. They continue to maintain possession. They will go all the way back, and you see their backs close to that midline. But that's what happens even when UCF gets possession. No one up top, everyone back defending. Just hard to break out of that shell. And Evelyn Vienne has, by my count, touched the ball twice thus far. And we're halfway through the first 45 minutes.
Again through the wickets. This time the touch courtesy of Rouse. And a whistle as Vienne goes down.
We're trying to force things to find number 14.
Anytime you and I go more than 5 to 10 minutes without talking about number 14, that's when it's time for the other team to worry. The moment you lose track of her is when she will make you pay with that talented left boot or the right.
We saw that in the season opener. Memphis did a great job. They shut her down for the vast majority of the game, but somehow able to come up seemingly out of nowhere, and she found a goal. This is a player who averages over a goal a game. That's unheard of.
This one from some distance into the masses. Plummer may have gotten the final deflection before it winds up again with the redshirt freshman goalkeeper, Caroline Delisle.
Hochstadter just tried to chip this one over into the mixer. Came off the shoulder, easily collected by Delisle.
Delisle wearing that Carolina blue. It's interesting, Ange Kelly, a former national champion with North Carolina, now head coach of Texas, also has her goalkeepers wearing a similar shade of blue. Shot comes off the post. That close to USF having a lead here in the war on I-4.
And that's a situation where that ball can come off the post and maybe ricochet off the goalkeeper back in.
Nasello.
What a run from Nasello. It took a deflection.
Yeah, off the leg of Plummer. So a corner kick here for the Bulls. And pardon me, I say that. It's going to be a goal kick for UCF. They say no deflection off Plummer.
Yeah, missed there. And give the benefit of the doubt to the officials. They're not party to the replay, but clearly a deflection there off of Plummer.
And back over to the Bulls as Nasello again picks herself back up, the sophomore from Land O'Lakes, Florida.
Nasello, one of those players who's always involved, just around the ball. Maybe not the goal scorer, the one with the assist, but as influential as anyone else on her team.
Yeah, the Knights fair in a counter. And Martinez is just going to have to corral this one with her feet.
The ebb and flow, you saw the Knights, they were finding their footing, going ahead, better opportunities, and now you're seeing the same from USF. They're looking the better of the two sides these last few minutes.
These solid costumes. There was a lot on the calendar today in Orlando. We will try to keep the Halloween puns to a minimum here on the broadcast. Vienne against Plummer. How about that big matchup that could take place on the world stage? Plummer got the better of that exchange.
Plummer, great job, was patient. Vienne giving up a few inches. Plummer waited, bided her time, made a great tackle.
Inside the final 19 of this first half, each side has had opportunities. You wouldn't know UCF is out of the hunt from the #1 seed the way they have been able to compete with the Bulls here in Orlando. Of course, the cliche in a rivalry where you throw the record books out the window. We've never had to do that. It doesn't seem like the Bulls or UCF ever come into a matchup struggling overall in the year.
Take a look at Wagner. This is fantastic defense. Keeping an eye on the ball, not biting. A lot of young players, they will try to make that stabbing tackle, put themselves in a bad situation. Let the player with the ball go first, and then you react.
First change off the bench, Ellie Moreno is going to come on for UCF. Talk about Wagner, Denise Schulte-Brown, high praise for her right back. Just calls her a machine back there, the junior. Probably the most efficient player she has, well-rounded with the speed, the strength. She'll get the most touches throughout the match and still somehow flies under the radar of a lot of opponent scouting reports.
I don't think she'd take it any other way. Defenders, they don't want to be the one garnering the headlines in the limelight. They're very happy to do their job and do it well.
Sidney Martinez again gets the nod today. Vienne just sends one to run on into space. For the Knights, Olivia Lewis will send it in touch. Bulls will retain possession here.
UCF doing a good job playing physically with Vienne. They're not committing fouls, but physically enough. And most goal scorers, most forwards don't like the physical game. It pushes them off a little bit. And I think that's the case right now with Vienne.
Vienne has scored in every conference match so far. She almost sees a teammate find the back of the net. McGrath denied, not by much.
What a save from Delisle. McGrath with the best opportunity of the match for a goal. Looks like she was going to find the opener for all the world. Vienne, great distribution. One touch from McGrath and a reaction save. Delisle, no time to do anything except for see it, dive. Got enough of it to keep it out.
Evelyn Vienne sucks in so much attention, rightfully so, but without ever looking over towards her teammate, able to lay out a beautiful pass. But Delisle was ready.
Emma Davies coming on, the sophomore forward from Ontario, another Canadian for the Bulls, checking on as they make a change.
That's the fourth shot on frame by USF this half. Obviously, Delisle has had an answer every time.
Obviously, that was the most difficult save she's had to make by far.
It's 4 different Bulls recording shots on goal. Vienne had one earlier. Oh, Evelyn hoping for a miscue. Not quite a half hour complete here in Orlando. Great to have you with us here on the American Digital Network. We will have the early rounds of the conference tournament as well. 3 different locations, of course. The 3 seed and 4 seed, likely UCF and Cincinnati hosting their opening round matchups before everybody remaining. The last 4 teams either to Memphis or to Tampa, depending on the results tonight. Again, Memphis playing in the Central Time Zone will tee off against Tulsa in Oklahoma right about the time we wrap up here this evening. As this one off the mark, simply a goal kick coming up for Delisle. As McGrath robbed a little bit earlier, won't find a shot on frame this time.
And McGrath has to put that one on goal, force Delisle into a save, just let her off the hook in that situation.
Breather for Scott. She'll come out in favor of Deanna Martin, as Martin makes her 17th appearance this year, the sophomore from Boca Raton. Both these coaches I know really excited about, again, the increase in talent in the Sunshine State for some local products. But both these programs with the capability certainly of reaching across the country and across the globe as well.
They found perfect combinations. You have all the local talent here in Florida, so you can pick and choose some of the best players. And obviously, they're vying for signatures, both these teams. And then you can get some great players from across the world as well. We mentioned Canada, Jamaica, other places. And if you can get that, some internationals with some locals, it's been a winning combination for both UCF and USF.
So the Knights won't be hosting the women's tournament. We do know UCF volleyball will be hosting the first ever American Volleyball Championship. 3 rounds over 3 days this next month by virtue of winning the regular season title last year. Volleyball awards the subsequent year's tournament to the conference regular season champion, as Plummer sends this one in touch.
Great idea there from Vienne. Holding things up, waiting for reinforcements, played it onto a teammate, and then immediately spinning it around, making that run, but the ball just a bit too far in front of her. The idea there That's good news for USF.
They'll work it through Hawksdaughter. Well, Hawksdaughter's been limited in terms of the set piece opportunities for the Bulls. Now she's in pursuit of this one. Wide open spaces. Martinez retreating back to her line. As this one will finally just be sent. And a flag is going to be ultimately raised as Ellie Moreno on that run offside.
The flag came up late. Moreno was in an offside position. She tried to get back, but the speed knifing forward all the way through. Couture, what a run there. And just Moreno couldn't get back onside in time.
Again, that is measured by where she was when the pass is made towards her, as opposed to where she finally receives the ball.
Quite frankly, I don't think she anticipated that speed from the German coming right up the middle of the pitch. What a run.
Hawksdaughter. Of course, the Bulls have already had their senior day. But they would love to have a couple more matches in Tampa. Bulls need an outright victory today, and would also need Memphis to come up short of a win tonight. If they wind up with identical records, which would mean a draw for USF and a loss for Memphis, Memphis has the head-to-head tiebreaker from that first weekend, when again Memphis opened its schedule coming to both of these Florida schools and left that weekend 2-0 to start conference play, to announce that last year's championship tournament was not a fluke when they claimed the automatic bid out of Tampa. Bulls through traffic. Vienne not impressed with all the numbers around her. She'll fire a shot, but blocked point blank, top of the 18.
Vienne just trying to do a bit too much. Had a teammate on either side of her, elected to keep it. Just couldn't get the shot through a pair of Knight defenders. Earlier, Vienne tried to play that one touch and then looked for the return ball. I think that's going to be the ticket for her, as opposed to trying to go one-on-one or one-on-three.
And a foul is going to bring this one back now. And we're going to have our first booking. As I believe that is going to go against Lucy Roberts.
You take another look there. Hear the foul.
And what a position this is now for UCF with a little over 10 minutes to go in this first half.
We've seen some set piece opportunities for the Bulls. They were unable to take advantage. Can the Knights find the opener?
Only 5 times this year has Sidney Martinez seen a soccer ball cross her goal line.
The way this match has been played, I fully expect to find goals through set pieces or through mistakes. I don't see a lot coming via the run of play.
Trick. Treat. Nope. Follow-up shot, no good. Martinez gets the stop as UCF, a little play out of their book.
The nice set play, and then Martin just couldn't wrap her body around it. Caught a touch to it, a wide open goal as Martinez was on the ground. Just couldn't redirect it on frame.
There has to be a name for that play call.
Oh, there is. That is something they practice. I can guarantee you. They practice before, after. That's one. When you get a set piece like that, you look over to the bench and you're immediately telling the coach, this is what we want to run.
And their head coach, former pro in Carolina, where she played college ball. And, of course, stood up like so many of those Tar Heels for her national team.
A decade with the best women's national team in the world, and that is not up for debate.
Whatever happened to that U.S. women's team? Are they still playing soccer?
I think they've won a few, just a few games, maybe a few World Cups as well, if I recall correctly.
I have to imagine she enjoyed watching the matches this summer in France. Good excuse for a recruiting trip. Kitching.
Now, when you have coaches that have played at the national team level, Canada and the U.S. respectively, it gives you a little extra when you're out there recruiting. You're able to say, not only have I done it at the collegiate and the pro level, I've done it at the international level.
Another opportunity for the Bulls. 19 yards out. And coming in, at least briefly, thwarting that was Martin, who's come off the bench today. 8.5 minutes to go. This one will go wide, and simply a goal kick coming up for Delisle.
Frustrating there for the Bulls. Thought Davies had an opportunity. Martin doing a very good job. Physical, but not committing a foul. Davies able to win it back. Good work from VN and leaving it off for a teammate, but again, could not force Delisle into a save.
Mentioned Delisle's played every single minute this year. All the more impressive that she's only allowed 9 goals. The 9 goals allowed by UCF this year. 4 in the first half, 5 in the second half. They've yet to be toppled in overtime. As we'll have some more substitutions for UCF. Our first look tonight at Sidney Turner, just her 5th match of the year, the freshman, stepping out on the pitch here on senior night.
Another local product, native Floridian out of Pembroke Pines.
Seven and a half minutes to go until intermission here in Orlando. And every team in the American wrapping up their schedule tonight before the top 6 teams compete in the American tournament. The top 2 will get the first round off. Of course, by the end of the night, we'll know where that final side is of the championship and the semifinals. Just won't be able to tell you at the end of the broadcast. At the moment, Memphis, the favorite. A couple of different outcomes can favor the Tigers. I do know is we will crown some champions in Memphis tomorrow. The first championships in the American this year for fall sports will go the way of cross-country men and women tomorrow morning in Memphis. We'll have that coverage right here on the American Digital Network.
Good work again defensively by Martin. Physical, but didn't commit a foul, able to win it back. Martin, who came on as a substitute, doing a very good job on that right side.
And again, tomorrow morning it'll start 10 o'clock Central. They'll have both the men's and women's races live, wire to wire, right here on the American Digital Network. And then we're going to send our man Ignacio to TBD International Airport for both the women's and the men's soccer championships, apparently. And then, of course, volleyball, we know, is in Orlando. That's a predetermined site just about a year in advance. The ball sent into the box, exposed line, and Delisle finally able to get on top of this one. Oh, time stood still.
Delisle off the line, out of the 6, almost exposed. What a job, able to come up with not 1, but 2 big saves here. Delisle almost allowed the opener. I said it may well come via a mistake. The Knights goalkeeper didn't make one there.
There's Rebecca Anderson right there giving her fits. And how about the skills from Turner, who's come on? He's played fewer than 90 minutes this year. And the Bulls still looking for that first half goal. This one from 18 will climb over the crossbar. Again, that one off the right foot of McGrath, who came so close earlier.
McGrath so far has been the most dangerous of the Bulls here in the first half. Great job, just stuck with it, wins the tackle, able to go through. Had Vienne there, couldn't thread the needle to her. Well over the top, no trouble. Delisle not forced into a save.
It was full speed ahead after she had been able to find her way around Plummer.
McGrath, because of all the focus, the attention being paid to Vienne, finding some space. She needs to do something with it.
Both keepers have had some scares here in this first half, but have been able to do just enough as we are level in a scoreless matchup in this clash between the two Florida sides.
I would expect nothing more, nothing less. It's evenly played, possession, shots on goal, everything pretty much the same.
Still on it. And a foul will send it back the way of the Knights here at home.
A chance for UCF to set things up. Catch their breath, maybe for one final push here. Just over 3 minutes left.
Both teams 4 shots on frame this first half. Each keeper with a save every occasion. One more to go, and the Knights on their home pitch have a lead with 3 minutes to spare here in the opening half.
Moreno, the freshman from Winter Park, a good ball in, beautiful first touch, just deadened it right there, pulled the trigger, able to get it by Martinez. Defense slow to get to her, and give a ton of credit to Martin. Martin cuts back, stuck with it, and you see right there, no one getting on Moreno. Moreno finds herself right between two USF defenders, neither able to get there. And Moreno makes no mistake finding the opener, and that is, what a blow. Less than 3 minutes remaining in the half. The Knights take the lead.
Little M&M combo here on Halloween. Moreno, her 3rd goal as a freshman, trying to send these seniors out in style on senior night.
Poor defending. All the focus on Martin. Give Martin a ton of credit. Went to ground, popped right back up, stuck with it. But nobody getting a body on Moreno, and when they did, it was just too late.
If you listen closely, you heard a little cheering in Tulsa and in Memphis from Tigers fans, as Memphis does not need a win in Tulsa tonight, or even a draw if USF loses here in Orlando. Looking for the equalizer with 2 minutes to go till halftime. Just the 6th first half goal allowed this year by the Bulls.
And the Bulls, so far this year, they are 0-2 when trailing at half. See if they can find the equalizer in the remaining minute 45.
Fair to say that's a limited sample size this year.
Without a doubt.
There's a reason why they've had as much success as they have. 12 wins, just 3 losses overall. And a foul that will give this one back over to the Knights. Final 90 seconds in this first half. UCF, the goal from Moreno. Assisted by Martin. Just the 6th goal allowed this year by Martinez in her 9 starts.
Nice finish from Moreno, in tight. Mentioned that first touch, so important. Was able to deaden the ball, didn't trickle away from her, and then got a quick shot off.
And we know UCF will have another home match in front of their fans, as they will host the opening round clash that they have, either as the 3 or 4 seed. Right now, they'd be on pace to be the 3 seed. And of course, if they prevailed in that matchup, this shot off the mark, these two teams could very well tangle again in the semifinals. It likely put USF as the 2 seed as the final seconds melt down here in this opening half. UCF at home with the lead here in the War on I-4 rivalry. Up by 1.
Great first half, everything we anticipated. A 1-goal lead for the home team at the break.
So that's a lead for Tiffany Roberts, the Haydock squad. The head coach of the Knights is with Eric Lopez. Eric?
Thanks, Lincoln. Coach, obviously big goal there during the end of the first half. There, a big boost. Talk about that first half.
First half, I'm really proud of the team. I thought we held possession pretty well, and we've been pretty composed. And then at the end of the day, it's a mentality with South Florida. You know, it's very psychological and emotional. And I thought we did a great job of dealing with that emotion. It's senior night, too, and the girls are competing. That's all I can ask for.
Second half now, what do you want to see for your team here to get 3 points?
Shutout, of course. So we got to stay strong in the back, not allow any, service or uncontested shots. And then obviously let's keep pushing on the attack so that we can score more goals.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck.
Thank you.
Lincoln?
Eric, thank you. And, my prediction is if UCF does shut out USF, the Knights will win. They have a lead here halfway through. We'll take a look back at first half highlights and stats in the big picture here on American Digital Network. Halftime in Orlando. The Knights up by 1 on senior night.
We don't just predict the future, we shape it. Because as a preeminent research university, we don't focus on what should be, we focus on what could be.
When we say charge on, we commit to do extraordinary things, to put in the work, to be smarter and stronger, to let them know we're coming. Charge on! Charge on!
Welcome into the ADN studio for a quick look at the Americans' top headlines. I'm Haley Out. In football, SMU quarterback Shane Buechele was named the Walter Camp National Offensive Player of the Week. He passed for a career-high 457 yards and 6 touchdowns in a 45-21 win against number 25 Temple, keeping the Mustangs undefeated. Buechele became one of 5 FBS players with at least 6 touchdown passes in a game this season. In women's soccer, with 2 goals this past week, USF senior forward Evelyn Vienne set a new conference record for career goals with 62. She has already broken the record for career points and ranks 5th in the nation this year with 14 goals and 31 points. In men's soccer, Memphis beat then number 3 SMU on Friday, which was the first loss for the Mustangs this season. It was the highest ever ranked win for Memphis in program history, and the Tigers have now set a new school record with 5 straight road victories. UCF is still unbeaten in league play and have not lost in their last 11 matches. They held off UConn Sunday in overtime. In UCF's past 2 games, freshman Gino Vivi has scored the golden goal to get the wins. In volleyball, Houston's Rachel Toulos registered 17 total blocks against Cincinnati on Sunday. Toulos set an American record, breaking the previous mark of 13. Her 17 blocks were the most by any player in a single match this season at the Division I level. Toulos went on to win the league's Defensive Player of the Week honors. To keep up with the Americans' top news and notes, make sure to follow along on Twitter at American_Conf.
My name is Claire Embry. I'm a medically retired volleyball player and I am an advertising PR student at the University of South Florida. It's important for me to get a college education because a college education is knowledge, and if you don't have knowledge, you can't grow in this world. And so I just always, that's like the highest value that I really have, so I'm actually going to get my master's degree also. In 5 years, I don't have a certain idea of exactly what I want to do. I have 2 different paths, but I know I love sports, I love communications and advertising and public relations, and also connecting with people throughout like the sports administration, so we'll see where things lead me. The best advice anybody's given me is probably just to be yourself and shine through and not let anything hold you back from your dreams and goals. I have several hidden talents. I'm really good at spinning a ball on my finger, so it's kind of my party trick. Go Bulls!
be undeniable.
My name is Kira Dalmas, and I am a Master's of Statistics student at the University of Connecticut. I am recently retired. I used to be a defender on the lacrosse team. It's important to me to get a college education because, number one, I love to learn. I'm a big dork about learning anything and everything that I possibly can. In 5 years, I see myself as owning my own statistical consulting firm. My heroes, which it's totally cliche, but my heroes are my parents. I became a member of SAC because I love to help people. I'm really good with my hands at things, like I'm building a table for my apartment. I used to be in honors art classes. The best advice anybody has ever given me is accept the fear of failure. Don't be afraid to fail because it's not failing, you're just learning. Go Huskies!
My name is Chris Paul, and I am a Computer Information Systems major and Cybersecurity minor at the University of Tulsa. I am an offensive lineman on the football team. It's important to me to get a college education because higher education opens up a plethora of opportunities. In 5 years, I would like to see myself in the NFL or as the United States Secretary of Defense. Two very different spectrums. I became a member of SAC because I truly enjoy being involved within my community and within my school. Hidden talents. I can really sing. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't know that I have the pipes, but I can really belt out a couple of notes. The way it's set up right now, I don't really think I'm prepared for that. Rain came, baby.
Scores!
3 strikeouts in a row.
Dominance for a 4th straight year. Hueso from 30!
Unbelievable. And be able to celebrate the second championship.
There's the record breaker. They are the champions of the American.
Halftime in Orlando, the home squad Knights on senior night with the goal advantage. Lincoln Rose, Kit McConico, Eric Lopez with you here on the American Digital Network. And Kit, we saw a combined 8 shots on goal before finally one went home as each team had an opportunity to find that advantage early on.
Very even first 45 minutes, both teams with opportunities. Great goalkeeping from Delisle and Martinez. Great chance here. USF took a deflection off the post and out. There were chances for both teams. Vienne this time playing the distributor. Best save of the first half. Delisle point blank, able to come away with a little bit of trickeration on Halloween. But it was Martinez this time with the save, and Martin unable to redirect it on the open frame.
Martin came in as that first half substitution. That would pay off soon enough for UCF. As after this stop on one end, an opportunity would avail itself here.
Martin, great job cutting back, sticking with it. Moreno finding a soft spot right in the 18. A stop and a finish. 1 touch, 2 goal, putting the Knights ahead. Just 3 minutes remaining in the first half.
That is your difference through 45 minutes of play. A certain Evelyn Vienne has not scored yet. She's scheduled to do so, you would assume. Do the Knights have insurance, though, pending when we come back for the second half?
We don't just predict the future, we shape it. Because as a preeminent research university, we don't focus on what should be, we focus on what could be.
When we say charge on, we commit to do extraordinary things, to put in the work, to be smarter and stronger.
undeniable. Be undeniable.
Birdie scores!
3 strikeouts in a row.
Dominance for a 4th straight year.
Cueso from 30!
Unbelievable. And be able to celebrate this type of championship.
There's the record breaker. They are the champions of the American.
We don't just predict the future, we shape it. Because as a preeminent research university, we don't focus on what should be, we focus on what could be.
Undeniable.
Freshman Ellie Moreno with the difference maker so far with 3 minutes left in that first half, able to find the go-ahead strike for her Knights as they have the edge here in the war on I-4. Again, what's coming up next here, free of charge on the American Digital Network. Set your alarm. Tomorrow morning we'll have both the men's and women's cross-country championships in Memphis. Of course, women's soccer championship site still to be determined. Men's soccer championship, I don't have enough time to discuss all of the scenarios. What I will say is it could very well be right here in Orlando, as the only unbeaten team among the men resides here in Orlando. But you've got SMU, Memphis, Temple all nipping on their heels with one loss. A lot can happen as the season wraps up this next week for the men. And of course, much more clarity in the women's volleyball championship because they do award it to last year's regular season winner. So it will be right here in Central Florida as well. But right now, our focus on the final match of the regular season. Every team in action tonight. UCF trying to spoil USF's hopes of hosting in Tampa, which would mean everybody shifts up towards Memphis. The Tigers do not get started in their regular season finale tonight at Tulsa until later on tonight, about 2 hours difference between the start time of this one and that one. And, well, the only way that we would know the final outcome when we sign off tonight is if there is some unexpected inclement weather here that we will all root against so that everybody can get some trick-or-treating in.
Absolutely.
Both teams making their way out, loosening up. UCF feels pretty good. We heard from Tiffany Roberts-Sahadak, head coach of the Knights, as UCF, again, both teams had seen their goalkeepers do just enough after 4 shots on goal apiece until finally Martin found Moreno.
And so far here on senior night, it's the underclassmen, namely the redshirt freshman goalkeeper Caroline Delisle doing a great job for the Knights in goal. The assist from the sophomore Martin, the goal from the freshman Moreno, the only time we've seen a goal find the back of the net thus far, but I have a feeling that that is not going to be the case 45 minutes from now.
Look into the Knights huddle, and right now the Bulls are just now emerging from the visitors' locker room as they have some work to be done. And you imagine they were already motivated enough when they saw who their opponent was tonight, but they have the added motivation of still potentially claiming an American regular season championship and hosting rights in the conference tournament if they can come back and win here in Orlando.
They do indeed. This is a veteran team, a lot of senior leadership. They know what they need to do. I mentioned they are perfect on the road this year, 7-0, but they are winless, just 0-2 when they are trailing a half because they haven't been in that situation, as you so correctly said. This is a team that has generally been able to get up, get ahead. How do they play from behind here in the second?
Joked earlier that Evelyn Vienne was scheduled to score in this matchup. Of course, she has done so in 7 straight matches, which is just unbelievable. 16 goals on the year right now. And she's looking to put up numbers that rival those stats that she had last year.
She averages over a goal a game, and that's incredible. The consistency that she has to do that each and every week, to score in 7 straight matches with a conference as difficult as this is, that is just unheard of.
Football stadium across the way. Obviously, all the fall sports have had more than their fair share of success these recent years here on this campus.
The end of the half, the beginning of the half, always so important. And it was UCF who scored with just 3 minutes remaining in the first half. What is the response from USF?
Well, USF will need to respond here in the second half. We now have the chance to speak with Denise Schulte-Brown, head coach. She's with Eric.
All right, Coach, what do you need to do here to get a comeback in the second half?
We have to play better in every regard. We didn't play well. Outside backs didn't attack. Midfielders didn't support one another. Our possession was poor. I mean, we literally need to change the entire way we play. We started to play maybe the last 10 minutes of the game, but wasn't a good performance.
Good luck, Coach.
Thank you.
Lincoln, back to you.
Have to imagine that was probably pretty close word for word what she delivered back in the locker room.
Be a few words sprinkled in there.
As Evelyn Vienne in your picture, trying to hop on this one opportunistically, and a scary moment here as Plummer goes down.
Plummer, outstanding first 45 minutes on defense and pressing forward as an attacker, the Jamaican international.
Again, this was a non-contact injury to the Jamaican. They'll give her space. She just planted funny.
Sometimes those are the worst ones, and see her immediate reaction in obvious pain.
That just seconds into the start of the second half.
Lincoln, going back to what Coach Schulte-Brown had to say there at halftime, particularly the support in the midfield. That's one thing that I really noticed was not there. When the Bulls were able to win the ball back, it was hard for them to get forward because they didn't have that support in the midfield, and the forwards were outnumbered. They didn't have that support line to pass the ball back to recycle, to maintain possession that we saw so often from UCF.
And you hope Kanya here can get up on both those feet. She'll have to come off at least briefly. We hope it's briefly.
This would be a huge loss for the Knights. Everything that she brings, the experience, size, athleticism, and
with that said, all of a sudden Evelyn Vienne has to be licking her chops a little bit.
It was Plummer who in large part was able to shut her down, and it was defense by committee, and that is always going to have to be the case on Vienne, but it was Plummer chiefly who was in her hip pocket for the first 45 minutes and kept Vienne out of this.
Mathilde Cac will come on, the sophomore from France. She makes her 7th appearance on the year.
Keep an eye on USF. I have a feeling that they're going to want to get Vienne going right at the new addition, not give her any time to get her feet wet.
Knights could do themselves a great service with an insurance goal. Their lone goal came with 3 minutes to go in that first half. The best opportunities for both sides have come when they refuse to give up on opportunities. We've seen some balls linger around inside the area, even inside the 6. May not get a clean look initially. Rare first half deficit for USF in green.
In a match like this, as cliche as it is, it may well be the team that wants it more. We saw that from the Knights in the first half. They were quicker to 50-50 balls.
Nasello around a couple of Knights on this run.
But no support there from Nasello. Had one to the far side. No one coming behind her and nobody to play the ball onto.
This ball is gifted back to the Bulls out on the wing. They'll send it in. Back post looking for Vienne. And no mistake made by Olivia Lewis, the freshman back there. to get that first touch.
The underclassmen for the Knights playing out of their minds. Lewis, great job, knew that she had a forward behind her, knew that she couldn't make a mistake, and just able to head that one out of the box.
Vienne would have happily cleaned things up on that back post.
You have to think, if you're a freshman defender, you've seen some great forwards, some goal scorers this season in the American, but you haven't faced anyone like number 14 in green.
Rouse up ahead. In UCF, not in the title picture for the regular season crown. 4 wins, 2 losses, 2 draws. That second loss came their last outing in their final road game in conference play at Cincinnati. Another team right there in a hunt for a hosting opportunity in the first round. Again, top 2 seeds get that round off, so they don't even factor in there. 3 seed and 4 seed will host on their respective campuses. That is a change from last year's format, where everybody for all 3 days went to Tampa. I don't think anybody complained that they were in Tampa for that whole week, including a Halloween kick for those quarterfinals last year. Calendar this year has us off a week, but it does simplify travel for a couple of the schools. Vienne. Evelyn Vienne has her chance, and she is shut down point blank as she walked it right up to Delisle.
What a save by Delisle. She tried to Megger, tried to go through the legs. Delisle held her ground. Take a look here. Delisle, the kick save, got her knee down. Just incredible that able to keep the lead. And all that was set up by McGrath. It was McGrath who was pressuring, who was able to force the turnover. And Vienne, a rare miss in such a dangerous spot.
Cello now within 20. Bulls still threatening.
And even though Vienne had very little angle in that one, you expect her, maybe you take a touch wide, then you take this shot, but trying to go through the legs of a goalkeeper in that situation.
USF plays an advantage here.
Well, this is what the Bulls fans wanted to see, how they respond, how they start this second half, the first 5-10 minutes. So far, the first 5, they have done exactly what they need to do, putting pressure on Delisle and the Knights defense.
Credit that back line at Delisle for helping her out a little bit when Vienne was coming right at her. Evelyn did not have a lot of flexibility there. And right back to 14. Nice ball to run on. No chance to get a left-footed shot off. Now the shot comes as Delisle leaves her feet to squeeze it in.
McGrath again on the spot, this time as the distributor. She was the one who laid the ball off, but a great race here. Able to beat Lewis to it. Laid off to the top of the box, a shot. Tried to wrap it to the far post. Delisle read it the whole time.
As Bree Blethen looking for the equalizer, would have been her second goal this year. Coming up from that back line, where we've seen her both inside as a center back and on the outside.
Good response here early in the second half from the Bulls, and also for UCF, after being on their back heels for the first 5 minutes, able to push things down at the other end, and they win the set piece and wisely taking some time off the clock.
UCF survives a couple of looks from the Bulls, and now a corner kick for the Knights. Rouse. Towering delivery. As UCF resets here.
Just no off-ball movement right now for the side in black. Everyone watching, waiting, hoping someone will make things happen.
Simply a throw here for UCF.
The reason the Knights were successful in the first half, because they were able to play quickly, the link play, 1 and 2 touches. A physical game in the first half. It continues here early in the second.
Good tackle for the Bulls, but last to touch it as well. And I said a throw. This is a corner, clearly. Bulls the first on it. And Vienne's going to win a foul. Oh, that may be that may be an NBA call.
That's a senior foul right there. You are not going to get that call unless you're a senior. You know exactly what you need to do, how to play it, and a little Maradona leg kick at the end just for the extra flair.
I mean, we see Michael Jordan get that call.
You're not a rookie. If you're a rookie, you're not getting that one. No freshmen are going to get that.
We played 42 minutes before that first goal showed up. Both teams certainly had opportunities in that first half. It is UCF looking for some big rivalry points in this war on I-4 between the two athletic departments.
So far, that war's belonged to the Knights, winning the first 3 years. Last year, winning by a dominating score of 70-14.
Lincoln Rose, Kit McConico, Eric Lopez with you tonight here on the American Digital Network. And we opened our coverage this year with that championship rematch between USF and Memphis on that same hallowed ground in Tampa at Corbett Stadium, where USF was simply unbeatable last year until the Tigers handily claimed that final match of the week to take the automatic bid into the NCAA tournament. But before Tampa hosted last year, of course, we were here in Orlando with the women, regularly seeing that championship go into a shootout, of course. And a conversation here with McGrath.
Aubrey McGrath, a senior from West Palm Beach. She's the one pulling the strings.
We have not seen Kanya Plummer return since she went down in the opening seconds, literally, right after the opening kick here in the second half.
McGrath and Vienne trying to put as much pressure they can on that reconfigured back line of the Knights with the absence of Plummer.
Nasello still on it. Out wide to McGrath. Looking to turn. Can she put it on her left foot? Back out for more room. Nasello dials this one up. And Vienne will never have a bite at that apple.
Nasello doesn't lose any speed when she has the ball at her boots. She's so fast, and she is as fast running at defenders. That's where she really makes things happen. That's where she can put pressure on a defense. And we've seen that. When you draw that other defender opening things up, she just has to find a teammate to get that pass to.
We are in the 55th minute here in Orlando.
Oh, what a ball down the line.
Godorf. And Martinez will not have to come up with an answer that time.
Godorf, she's the speed on the other end for the Knights. She's the one who can make things happen. Speed, one of those things that you can't duplicate, you can't teach.
Nasello at will. Finally, the run put to an end when she fires a shot right into a Knight. An offside flag you see raised. We'll bring this one back.
Both teams using their speed a little differently. Nasello, she's pressing up through the middle of the pitch, trying to draw defenders, then send it out wide, whereas Godorf, she's going to be in those wide areas trying to serve it in. That's close, but our linesman thought that just a hair offside when the ball was played.
Get the restart here from Roberts. Up to Cheyenne Dennis. Haven't mentioned Cheyenne tonight. That's usually a good sign for players on the back line. The junior out of Sunrise, Florida. Very confident young woman back there. Has put in now over 1,300 minutes on that back line. Bulls with an opportunity after a miscue. Vienne looking for the equalizer wide. Across the face. Just would not bend inside the far post.
It was Nasello again on the spot, playing to the distributor. A good ball to Vienne. And just so far tonight, things not going the way of Evelyn Vienne. This is a shot that 9 times out of 10 she puts on goal. May not put in the goal, but she's going to put it at least on frame. That time could not. But as you, I, and everyone in the country knows, Vienne, one of those players, just can make anything happen, can be out of the match for 89 minutes and 59 seconds, and all she needs is one swing of the boot.
Bulls right now looking into that trick-or-treat bag, just seeing some apples and maybe a box of raisins at best. Nasello still on this one. Nasello gets one from 19, but over the crossbar.
Sidney Nasello's doing it all by herself right now. She is willing the Bulls offensively. She is forcing things to happen, and she needs help.
Annie Peltier-LaRoche clearly wanting that ball to land at her feet. Pestering the back line of UCF. One of your French-speaking members of the Bulls out of Quebec. Back to Nasello. Bulls trail by a goal. Knights would like to make that 2 goals. Looking for insurance. This ball's still in play until now.
Almost a game of one-upsmanship between Nasello and Goodorf. One goes for a run, the other wants to immediately. The 2 speedsters really showing off. Fortunate that that one didn't come off the boot of Dennis. Thought she may have conceded the corner.
The Sahadak family hoping a second goal will come around. Again, Tiffany Roberts marrying Tim Sahadak. Both of them former Tar Heels players. Tim would go on to play in Major League Soccer before joining Tiffany at Virginia Commonwealth on that coaching staff for 6 years. Nasello again. Playing her own game of keep away before other teammates join her.
Better from Nasello there. Saw the wall of black jerseys, laid it off to a teammate.
This should be a corner kick now for the Bulls. A rare set piece opportunity from the corner for the visitors.
Nasello doing it all. Great decisive run, knifing through, then lays it off to Kitching. He's able to find the deflection, and now the corner.
How rare have corner kicks been tonight for the Bulls? Well, this is the first one.
You consider that these are teams, both teams average over 6 corners a game. Yeah. That was one of our keys in the open, set pieces. Bulls haven't had a chance. Now we'll see what Hochstadter can do.
It's a big reason why we haven't been calling Hochstadter's name. This is her role. Here's the service with a half hour to go. Down by a goal. Put it on the money. The problem is that ball right to Delisle.
And that is as good a service as you are going to get from a corner anywhere at any level. Hochstadter right where she wanted to. Peltier-LaRoche, the target, tried to go at the goal line as you were taught to do, but it was right at the feet of Delisle, easily collected.
The senior from Iceland dials up the Canadian. An hour complete between these two sides now. Yeah, both these teams so aggressive, dominate in corner kicks. USF this year coming into today, it was a 105-42 discrepancy. UCF similar, 97-46. It's a telling stat typically that reflects success when you're able to get that ball forward and create those opportunities from the corners.
Particularly these days, more and more goals coming via set pieces.
Evelyn Vienne trying to stay on side. This ball will go away from her for a moment.
And in that buildup, it was patient initially from the Bulls. They did a good job knocking it around. Then it seemed when they got in the final third, they lost a little bit of that patience. It's that ball over the top, not finding anyone.
Well, the quality sophomore and Elise Legrue from France comes on in place of course, Zandy Saray. What we have not seen is the return of Kanya Plummer.
Credit the Knights back line without Plummer, the Jamaican international. They've done a good job. They've been able to hold their own. I thought for sure the Bulls would go right at them and try to exploit that loss.
Bulls are out shooting UCF 16-9. More importantly, 9-5 shots on goal. The problem is those 9 shots on goal have translated to 9 saves from Caroline Delisle.
Delisle's playing a fantastic match. Has been from the opening whistle.
And a redshirt freshman who still can say she has never conceded a goal against the rival.
You know this is frustrating for USF, this team that has won the last 6 in a row. They've outscored their opponents 12-3 in those 6 matches, but so far they've been held in check tonight here in Orlando.
Again, UCF not in the championship picture for the regular season, but the reason why, well, they lose to Memphis 1-0. They lose to Cincinnati 1-0. Those 2 draws were both 0-0. The defense was there. Those were just the 4 matches they were shut out in. Bien. Nasello. And neither of them will ever get a shot off.
And that's because of Olivia Smith, the sophomore defender from England. Was able to mark VN, came back, and then was able to mark Nasello as well.
And simply a toss here. And almost a huge opportunity for McGrath, but that ball does just slip beyond the end line. Will there be a clean sheet at the end of this evening? For Caroline Delisle, already 8 shutouts this year, her first year in goal as a collegiate athlete. Opportunity. And Martinez, rather than going out for that ball, Knights will linger in the box a little longer. Just beyond that outstretched right foot of Moreno.
It's a good ball across the box from Goodorth. The way it was tailing away from Martinez. Martinez had to make a split-second decision. Elected to stay in and is supposed to get caught in no man's land.
Her name is Sidney Nasello. So perhaps one stride too many. Olivia Lewis, a beautiful tackle, just takes it right off her foot.
We've seen that a few times tonight. Nasello making these just decisive cutting runs into the box. Just a touch too many.
Ken Lewis, just a freshman, but with the confidence and the focus there to put an end to that run.
So far, UCF executing their game plan to a T. A lot of young players playing big minutes, stepping up, doing what they need to do.
Oh, UCF is going to continue to flaunt all their Tampa talent against USF. Jessica Taylor on, the 5th-year senior. She comes in for Ellie Moreno, our lone goal scorer so far, as the freshman comes off for the breather. And a goal kick for Sidney Martinez.
Heard from Coach Schulte Brown at halftime saying that their wing backs are not pressing forward, not getting involved in the offense. That remains the case. It's a difficult position to play, especially these days, as you're tasked with, obviously you are a defender, but then they want you to win the ball and they want you to immediately take it up the touchline and try to get something going on the other end. If you lose it, you have to sprint back, sometimes the length of the pitch, to get in defensive position.
Tonight, Memphis fans are temporarily UCF fans. And of course, the Tigers suit up later on tonight at Tulsa. Bulls must win tonight and then play wait and see on how that matchup in Tulsa would go. Have a chance to host and claim the regular season title as well. They would then need Memphis to either play to a draw or lose. A little bit of that opportunity has been created because ECU played a fantastic draw with Memphis just a couple weeks back. Evelyn Vienn's going to find her real estate for this corner.
Just the second corner of the night for USF. Both have come in the last 5 minutes.
Doesn't matter which corner it is, it's going to be Hawksdaughter who handles it. She was on the money last time. This one slips all the way through the crowd. Nobody on that back post.
Another perfectly served ball across the 6. Opportunities for numerous Bulls to get a touch to it. No one could, and Hawksdaughter has done her job. The 2 corners, the service has been perfect. Right over the head of VN.
Evelyn Vienne, if she would just go with the Ariana Grande high ponytail.
Think that would be enough?
May have had a goal for an 8th straight match. I assume that's still the trend.
I defer to you on those matters.
Thank you. That will be a huge mistake on your part. UCF, the lone goal. It came in the first half from Moreno. She's on the bench right now for the Knights, getting a breather. With a little over 22 minutes for USF to find an equalizer. This would be your likely candidate, Vienne. That 4th defender, a bit too much for her to overcome. And then there's Sidney Nasello. Has options, including her left boot. That'll win this corner kick.
Been defense by committee for UCF. All hands on deck for the Knights. Not just the back 4, but defensive midfielders as well. Take a look at Nasello. Another ball. Look what I found, using that speed to put pressure on the Knights. Wins the corner off of Smith.
If you're wondering where all the fans went who are in those temporary bleachers, of course, they're not interested in talking to their own goalkeeper. They've drifted to the other end. Hawksdaughter. A little quieter half of the pitch. Back post, punched away by Delisle.
Well done by Delisle. Didn't think she could come away with it cleanly and got a big fist to it.
And yet here come the Bulls again. Hawksdaughter has options here. Every time she has the ball, it's like a set piece. There'll be a throw for USF.
USF getting opportunities. Vienne playing the distributor. She knows all the focus is on her. Take another look at that corner kick punched away by Delisle. But because of the unselfishness from Vienne, able to find space. A few times Vienne was able to get open, had dangerous opportunities in the first half. She played it off to a teammate first, second touch, and then looked to make a run for that return pass, the give and go. That's going to be the ticket.
Nobody there on the feed from Evelyn. And UCF is going to give Caroline Delisle a moment of respite. Battle at the midfield. It appears the Bulls finally have won that battle. They keep knocking on the door. And no consequences for the Knights as that one goes through the 18.
You wonder how much longer that can remain the case. All these dangerous balls across that Bulls are unable to find somebody on the end of.
Nasello gets a decent look. The sophomore, though, will send it off the mark. Deanna Martin back on. We saw her in the first half. She had the lone assist when she found Moreno after Martin refused to give up on a ball on this end.
Did a good job playing on that right side of the midfield. Was able to win some key battles in the midfield.
Martin's first assist on the year to go with a goal earlier this season. Vienne, top of the 18. But you just look, there are black shirts everywhere, and no help for number 14 in green.
That's it, no support. I have a feeling that is exactly what Coach Schulte Brown is yelling out, that the midfield has to get up there. If there are 4 players marking Vian, that means somebody has to make a run to get open.
I mean, at some point, you're just going to see Sidney Martinez sprinting up there.
Frustration on the part of the Bulls, and understandably so. The support in the midfield, it's been lacking all match long.
Oxdotter up the middle. Nasello has had no problem turning on defenders. Nasello eyes up the pitch, but frustrated with herself.
She's been the bright spot in the midfield, but again, needs to play that ball quicker. Because obviously, she's able to beat 1 or 2, sometimes 3 defenders, but she can't get by the entire team. Just a lot of that is on her teammates, too. They need to make that final run just a bit sooner, find some open space.
Sidney, 5 assists this year. McGrath. And it's a Knights team that's played essentially this entire half without Kanya Plummer anchoring that back line. But they have maintained the goose egg on the board defensively. This is a Bulls team that's going to continue to find opportunities. Can UCF continue to find answers? Nasello again, deja vu.
Plenty of time remaining. Knights have been unable to find the insurance goal. They've been defending everybody back in their final third for the last 10 minutes.
And this is for the Knights.
The Knights would be well served to do themselves a favor and just try to get a little possession in the midfield, get the ball up the pitch, take some pressure off their defense.
The shot discrepancy is 17-9 for the women in green tonight. More accurately, 9-5 in terms of shots on goal favoring USF. The difference maker, though, came late in that first half. The Knights finally able to slot one home.
2 big stops by Dennis. Read it both times, able to deflect those would-be passes.
And concern at the moment for Molly Rouse. She needs to stretch out that left leg.
That's not a surprise. The pace that this match has been played, haven't been a ton of substitutions. Both teams content to play with the 11 on the pitch. Obviously, at this stage of the season, players fully fit.
Again, a great surface here, a championship surface last year when the men hosted the conference tournament here. And, of course, the Knights men may very well be hosting once again this year, depending on how this final week of conference play pans out. UCF men are the only unbeaten men's team left. There are 3 one-loss teams, though, right behind them, waiting in the wings, including the nationally ranked powerhouse Mustangs, who have edged UCF men in the last 2 years in the championship matchup in Dallas and then last year here in Orlando.
As tight as things are in the men's standings, if anyone stumbles, they may be done for.
What we do know is after tonight, UCF women will have to play 3 matches in less than a week to claim the automatic bid out of the conference tournament, while USF will have to play 2. UCF as a 3 or 4 seed will have to play in that opening round. They will do so here on this pitch, while we know the Bulls are guaranteed that first round off. At the moment, it appears everybody's headed to Memphis after that first round for the semifinals.
16 minutes in soccer, that's an eternity, particularly with just a 1-0 score line. It's been better from the Bulls, more possession, turning the screws bit by bit. Can they reward themselves with the equalizer?
As much as we talk about Evelyn Vienne, obviously you've seen the supporting cast very capable around her. As the Browns will bring on both Rebecca Anderson as well as Rosalia Gonzalez.
They have that supporting cast, both McGrath and Nasello. They've been all over the pitch.
You now meet your Spanish quota with the latter of the two coming on. The former Floridian. More time for UCF with the ball here. Bulls have certainly controlled opportunities here in the second half.
They have, and this is, you're trailing, this is what you need to do, but still have been able to get one by.
Evelyn Vienne wins the corner here, a little battle hip to hip. She knew she wouldn't have the angle for the goal, but will set up Hawksdaughter once more.
Hawksdaughter, on her two previous occasions, has put a beautiful ball in.
Now 4 corners this half. All have been on the mark from Hawksdaughter. Once more into the 6, punched out by Delisle. Bulls with the rebound. Chipped overhead and stress-free for Caroline.
Delisle in the set pieces, particularly those corners that have all been in dangerous areas, she has been up to the task. Able to come up with saves cleanly, able to punch him out of danger. And as a goalkeeper, can't risk anything. Can't allow a ball to rebound and be splayed into the box.
Can UCF put this one away with some insurance? Martinez almost a little too comfortable.
And Martinez, it looks, overran that ball a bit, and at 6 feet has long enough arms to be able to reach back to get it. Lucky that she did.
She has not really been called into action this half. Still waiting for her teammates in green to erase this deficit. Over to Lizzy Spears. Just the 5th showing on the year for the freshman from Palm City. And she sends this one into space. She knows where to go. Up ahead to Vienne. That ball looked like it eclipsed the end line. It did. A goal kick.
Olivia Smith, the sophomore from Essex, England, has given Vienne all she can handle in this one. She hasn't been the only one, but that young back line, they have played, if not the best match of the year, arguably one of their top matches, being able to shut down Vienne.
Goodorf back on for fellow starter Olivia Lewis. How will these final 12.5 minutes play out in Orlando? UCF just in time before halftime captured that lead here on senior night. No shortage of storylines tonight in terms of the implications of this matchup. Spears. Lizzy. And it will be shut down point blank by Smith, the sophomore who just returned a moment ago.
A nice run through by Davies, but it was Blethen who set things up.
Well, after that drive over here on I-4, the Bulls certainly know how to weave their way through traffic.
I think Nasello could give a clinic in that.
As Evelyn Vienne will remain forward most for Tampa.
This is what Coach Schulte Brown wants to see, those backs pressing forward. Exactly what was the case with Dennis. Just couldn't find a teammate. And that final ball, as it has been all match long, just not finding its target.
And Martinez will work it through her back line. 11 minutes remaining for a comeback for USF. If this score holds, Memphis, before they even take the pitch in Tulsa tonight, will have secured the regular season championship and the hosting rights for the semifinals and final this next week. Again, Spears with space. That space was quickly eliminated. Vienne trying to stay on sun.
The point where UCF almost giving the Bulls a bit of space in that center third, but once they reach the edge of the 18, they're clamping down.
Tapped back in by Cheyenne Dennis. Spears, you wouldn't know that she's had limited opportunities this year. Just a little over an hour on the season. As both sides will have reinforcements, we'll see Nasello return. Moreno, your lone goal scorer tonight, back in for the final 10 minutes here.
Both teams making changes. They want the best they have out on the pitch for this final 9 minutes and change.
So Spears earlier, obviously Emma Davies a moment ago putting in some quality work.
It was a nice touch from Davies too, able to just get that touch around the defender, played herself into space.
Young woman who had come in to spell for Evelyn Vienne last year. Which of course reminds us that Vienne has not come off the pitch.
I don't think she would if they asked her to. Goal scorers, they want the opportunity. She's a senior. Knows her time in a Bulls uniform limited, and she wants to continue to make her mark, continue to set records. Already has done that, not just for USF, but in the conference. 151 points, 64 goals.
And Brooks Monaghan last year, his Tigers able to topple USF in Tampa. Nasello here, opportunity to find that equalizer. Will lay it out. Bulls down by 1. As Delisle never having to intervene.
That's a situation where you need somebody at the top of the box making a late run in, everyone inside the 6. And if that ball's played to the top of the 6, not going to find anyone except for your opponent's defense.
I'm saying the Tigers last year found success against USF despite the fact that Evelyn Vienne made the most of every opportunity she had against them, it felt like. They just focused on what they could do. It's a tough task to simply shut down number 14, so it's a matter of not letting anybody else hurt you. 8 minutes to go.
And the Knights have done that defensively. They've been able to shut down Vienne, but they've kept the rest of the Bulls forwards in check as well. Nasello's had those great runs. McGrath has had opportunities, but none have been able to get one by Delisle.
UCF has been, for the most part, playing on this half defensively since emerging from the locker room. They have been under pressure from the Bulls, who have found all 4 of their four corner kick opportunities. A handful of shots on frame as well. But each time, UCF has found an answer to maintain that difference on the board. And again, this one belongs to USF. Just think how little we have seen from Sidney Martinez this half. She's still waiting for her teammates to find an equalizer. Not going to come here.
It has been all Bulls in the second half. You said it from the moment they came out of the locker room to start this second 45 minutes. They knew they were playing down a goal. They knew they had to make things happen, but the defense, and not just the back four, but the midfield as well for the Knights, have done a great job keeping this 1-0 scoreline.
Can the Knights hold on without Kanya Plummer playing this entire second half? And any time like right here that the Knights can spend on offense, well, the cliche, of course, that's their best defense. And Martinez, again, will never have to come up with an answer. That ball was searching for Deanna Martin. Clock not on the side of these women in green.
Both these teams digging deep, trying to leave it all on the pitch. And that means defensively for the Knights, and on the offensive side is Nacello.
Wow.
No foul, a lot of contact. Referee says play on. Surprised.
Foot race won here by Madison Mernon. You hear the loud cheering section. That's the Knights currently on their own bench. Understandably, a smaller crowd tonight when you're up against trick-or-treating. UCF trying to send their seniors out in style. It's officially their final regular season home match to suit up as Knights. We do know that UCF will be back for the opening round to host their matchup, either as the 3 or the 4 seed. Right now it's looking like number 3.
As they've done all night, the Knights, great job getting numbers behind the ball, winning those 50-50 balls. They're pressuring when they don't have it, forcing turnovers by the Bulls.
Those two Texas teams, SMU and Houston, at the moment round out your 5 and 6 seeds. But there was still some doubt coming into this final day of the regular season. That would be marked improvement for the Cougars. Nacello just wanted it more. Still plenty left in the tank. That foul will be called, and a yellow to come with it as well, as the caution awarded to Roger.
Roger, the sophomore from Gainesville, in the book. A clear foul. Nacello doing what she's done all match, just forcing things to happen. It is all want to there. And then the speed, the ball at her boots around Roger, and obvious foul committed.
I'm not going to question whether Hochstadter can be dangerous from here.
I don't think she's going to put this one on goal. Try to put this one onto a teammate. See if you can grab one, catch him streaming in from the top of the 18.
Delisle back on her line with a 1-goal lead to defend. Here comes the shot. Delisle with the save. Could that be the difference tonight? No cape for Caroline Delisle, but she's in line to be a hero.
And sometimes you need a luck on your side. It wasn't on the initial save. That was all Delisle. A beautiful stop here from Delisle. But the fact that she parried it straight up into the air, had she pressed that ball out a meter or two, there would have been a bull there to pounce on it and knock it in for the equalizer. But because it went straight up, it fell right to her on the ground and was able to make the save.
Had the answer for the shot from the right back, Sabrina Wagner. We thought perhaps she had tied this one up. 3 minutes to go.
Delisle, we mentioned everything she's done this season. 8 shutouts for the redshirt freshman. Just a .53 goals against average. Has given up just 9 goals through 16 games. She has played an outstanding match this evening.
Now a little more possession here for UCF with 2.5 to go.
And it's getting close to the point where if you're UCF, when you have the ball, you may well just want to take it down to the corner flag. Try to take more time off the clock. We'll see if that's what they do.
Time melting away. It's gonna be a goal kick for Martinez. Some urgency here. Ellie Moreno with the lone goal tonight. Vienne. Flag stays down. Evelyn Vienne. Determined to get that shot up.
Again, Sidney Turner making things happen. Rides out two would-be tackles, threads the needle. Great ball to Vienne. Vienne over the top, but it wouldn't matter as she was offside.
Again, she was deemed to be offside when that ball was passed in her direction.
Turner did everything there. If you're the striker, that is on you, becoming upon you to stay onside. You have to make the run, and as difficult as that is to time that up, it's not on the person who's going to play the ball through.
Well, the last time Evelyn Vienne, again, did not score. 8 matches back. Looking for insurance to put this one away, and Martinez with the kick save.
And that may be as good as insurance.
Corner kick will take time off this clock.
The defense absolutely gassed. Everyone on both sides of the pitch fatigued. Great work, able to win it from Scott. And Olsen just sends it out for the corner.
Final seconds counting down. It was the war on I-4. It was senior night. It was the classic battle between UCF and USF, and UCF will shut out the Bulls. The Knights victorious as both teams march into conference play. Evelyn Vienne's streak of 7 straight matches with at least 1 goal will come to an end. And of course, it means the Memphis Tigers will be your regular season champions and will host the final 2 rounds of the conference tournament next week.
Fantastic match from UCF. They executed their game plan to a T. They found the lone goal just 3 minutes from half. They defended the entirety of the second half without some star players, but they still did not concede a goal. They come away with the 1-0 victory and that War on I-4 trophy.
Martin found Moreno for the goal with 3 minutes to go in the first half. There's Kanya Plummer, appears to be for the most part okay. As she never had to come back in the second half, but they hope that she'll be available for that first round. As in a moment, Eric Lopez will have a chance to chat with the Knights, and Eric is with the lone goal scorer tonight, Ellie Moreno. Eric?
Thanks, Lincoln. Ellie, congratulations on a great match. Tell me about that goal there that turned out to be the game winner.
Yes, I don't know. I just saw Diana on the side, and I passed it up, and she passed me, and it was there.
Tell me about your defense. They're good. They're very talented there, but you were able to shut them down and shut them out.
Yeah, they're really insane. Like, without them, I don't know. We wouldn't be complete as a team.
How can you build this now to the next match on Sunday and forward?
We just got to keep on going. Don't stop. We have momentum now, so just got to work hard and finish what we started.
Well, congratulations. Enjoy this one tonight. Lincoln, back to you.
Eric, thank you. I don't think the Knights mind that they will have to play an extra match in the conference tournament. They get to host now, coming off this victory, as they will be the 3 seed. That means that they will host the 6 seed, likely aside from Texas, to move on to the semifinals, where at the moment they may very well be on a collision course with these Bulls and Evelyn Vienne once more. But they shut down Vienne and company. Caroline Delisle has still never conceded a goal in this War on I-4 rivalry. The freshman, a perfect 1-0 start. As, of course, Ellie Moreno, the game winner, it came in the first half. That's your difference tonight on this Halloween evening in Orlando. For Kit McConico, Eric Lopez, and our entire American Digital Network crew, I'm Lincoln Rose. Our next coverage, it'll be from Memphis, as the Tigers will host the final 2 rounds. Of course, both of the early round matchups will also be streaming online this weekend as well. Congratulations tonight to the Knights as they send their seniors out in style.